Welcome back to our channel. It is a beautiful Tuesday to dive into the latest drama unfolding in Port Charles. We have so much to unpack today, and I am absolutely buzzing with excitement over where these storylines are heading. I genuinely think we're missing the point if we just look at Britt Westbourne's current predicament as another standard medical crisis on a soap opera. The way I see it, the writers are doing something profoundly beautiful and tragic with her character right now. Seeing Britt on the run with Rocco Falconeri in the British Virgin Islands has been one of the most compelling arcs of the year. When the spoilers revealed that Britt knew her symptoms would return, but she didn't imagine it would be this fast, my heart completely shattered. I feel so incredibly relieved by that scene at the safe house, where she tries to mask her pain from Rocco, because to me, it finally proved that Britt's maternal instincts and her fierce protective nature have completely eclipsed her self-preservation. I love the way the lighting changed when she turned away from Rocco to hide her wincing. The shadows crossing her face perfectly mirrored the dark reality of her illness creeping back in. I think the writer's choice to have them isolated in Tortola instead of hiding out somewhere local was brilliant because it made me feel the sheer desperation of her situation. She is entirely cut off from the medical resources of General Hospital, and that isolation amplifies every single tremor and symptom she experiences. And then we have Rocco Falconeri, who is absolutely shining in this storyline. I know a lot of people are saying this storyline is dragging, but I actually think the slow burn is exactly what's needed, because I feel like it gives these younger characters the space to step up. Although Britt is trying her hardest not to alarm Rocco, the young man has already secretly reached out for help. I feel like this is the best they've written Rocco because it shows he is a true Spencer and Falconeri hybrid. He isn't just sitting back waiting to be rescued. He is actively taking charge of his own survival and Britt's well-being. When Britt ends up taking back a promise she made to him, likely about them being safe or her health being stable, you can see the trust fracturing, but it is replaced by Rocco's sheer determination. I am absolutely thrilled that Rocco's secret SOS went straight to Charlotte Cassadine and Danny Morgan. The way I interpret it, having the Legacy kids band together is the smartest decision the writing team has made all year. I imagine Charlotte and Danny will come through for Rocco in a way the adults simply haven't been able to. Danny has Jason's protective instincts, and Charlotte has Valentine's cunning. Seeing them intercept this call, and likely plot a way to help Rocco, makes me feel so nostalgic for the days when the younger generation of Port Charles drove the major summer storylines. Every time I think about Danny and Charlotte huddling together over a phone, deciphering Rocco's cryptic message, I get chills. It proves that the future of this show is in incredibly capable hands. Let's pivot to the absolute chaos happening back at the Port Charles Police Department, because Harrison Chase is currently tearing my heart out. Chase has always had a massive soft spot for Willow Tate Kane, and the fallout from him arresting Tracy Quartermaine is reaching a boiling point. The arrest has caused more career issues for Chase, with ADA Justine Turner breathing down his neck, and now it seems that Chase will finally make a big decision. I know the fandom is endlessly frustrated with Chase right now. People are screaming at their screens, begging him to wake up. But I genuinely think we're missing the point if we don't see the tragedy in his gullibility. I feel like this is the best they've written Chase, because his blind loyalty to Willow is his fatal character flaw. For drama's sake, we might see Chase make the wrong decision, yet again, and I am entirely here for the angst it will cause. I swear, men usually aren't this gullible in real life, but in the heightened reality of Port Charles, Chase's desperation to believe in Willow's inherent goodness is intoxicating. When Willow faked being pushed into the lake by Tracy, it was a masterclass in manipulation, and Chase fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. I think the writer's choice to have Chase confront Dante about his motivations was brilliant, because it made me feel the internal war Chase is fighting. He wants to be a good cop, but he wants to be Willow's savior even more. If his big decision is to double down on protecting Willow, risking his badge and his marriage to Brooklyn in the process, it will be the most delicious, heartbreaking train wreck to watch. Speaking of the PCPD, seeing Alexis Davis summoned to the police station this week adds such a fantastic layer of legal tension to the canvas. Alexis has been pulled in so many different directions lately, from dealing with Drew Kane's recovered, antagonistic attitude to navigating Ethan Lovett's messy paternity secrets. But the way I see it, her being summoned to the station right now is the perfect catalyst to pull her directly into the Curtis Ashford and Isaiah Gannon legal battle. Curtis wants to hire Alexis as his attorney because Isaiah has decided to sue him over their altercation. I love the subtle exhaustion in Alexis's posture in recent episodes. You can tell she is weary of the endless Port Charles drama, but she simply cannot help herself when a friend is in need. I believe Alexis taking on Curtis's case will be the exact grounding force this storyline requires. The Ashford family dynamics are currently a powder keg, and I am savoring every single second of it. Jordan Ashford reaches out to someone for help this week, and the emotional stakes couldn't be higher. Jordan is trying to navigate the fallout of her own hit-and-run crash, which we know Brooke Lynn and Lucy are trying to pin on Willow, while simultaneously dealing with the Curtis and Isaiah feud. However, Curtis gets the wrong idea again. I feel like Curtis's paranoia is completely justified given the sheer amount of stress he is under, facing the grim reality of prison. But his tendency to make wrong assumptions, perhaps thinking Jordan is aligning with Isaiah or misunderstanding her intentions, is tearing his support system apart. Trina is already crumbling under the stress of her parents' drama, and Curtis alienating Jordan is only going to make things worse. I think the writers are doing a phenomenal job of showing how legal peril can completely erode a person's rational thinking. Meanwhile, the tension between Dante Falconeri and Elizabeth Baldwin is providing some much-needed emotional grounding. Dante issues an urgent warning for Liz, and I am so deeply invested in their growing bond. Dante has been carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, desperately trying to find Rocco and Britt while defending Cassius Phaeton's crumbling Nathan act at the station. I think the writer's choice to have Dante open up to Elizabeth was brilliant because it made me feel the raw vulnerability beneath his detective exterior. Elizabeth knows what it is like to fiercely protect her children, and Dante warning her perhaps about the escalating mob violence or the WSB fallout shows how much he values her safety. Every time they share a scene, the quiet unspoken understanding between them just leaps off the screen. And then we have Laura Collins discovering a shocking secret. Laura is the moral compass of Port Charles, and her recent trip to Ireland with Kevin to visit Ace has clearly left her emotionally raw. The way I interpret it, Laura's shocking discovery is almost certainly about Rocco reaching out to Charlotte and Danny, or perhaps the truth about Cassius Faison posing as Nathan. I love the way the camera lingered on Laura's face when she realized the depth of the deception happening right under her nose. I feel like this is the best they've written Laura in months, because it forces her out of the mayoral office and back into the trenches of her family's survival. When Dante and Lulu Spencer make their own discovery later in the week, likely finding out that Rocco bypassed them entirely to ask the other kids for help, the emotional devastation for Lulu is going to be palpable. Lulu is already cacophonous and furious about Carly hiding Valentine, and realizing her son didn't trust her enough to call her directly will absolutely break her. I know a lot of people are saying the WSB and Ross Cullum storyline is too convoluted, but I actually think the slow burn of this espionage plot is exactly what's needed because I feel like it raises the stakes for everyone involved. Cullum pulls more deception and trickery this week, and he is proving to be one of the most formidable villains we've seen in years. He is relentless. The fact that he is closing in on Britt and Rocco in Tortola, while simultaneously holding Liesl Obrecht and Jocelyn Jacks captive at Windermere to force the Cold Fusion project, is terrifying. Cullum's slick moves keep our heroes constantly off balance. I think the writer's choice to have Cullum raid Carly's house looking for Valentine was brilliant because it made me feel the claustrophobia of his reach. Nowhere is safe. The mob stakes are equally high, perfectly highlighted by the tense interaction between Sonny Corinthos and Ava Jerome. Sonny forces Ava into a meeting, dragging her back into his dangerous orbit as he readies for battle with Jen Sidwell. I think the writer's choice to have them meet at the Jerome Art Gallery instead of his office was brilliant because it made me feel the collision of Ava's refined, reformed life with the gritty, inescapable reality of Sonny's world. I love the way Ava stood her ground, her posture rigid but her eyes betraying a flicker of the old mob queen she used to be. Sonny's territorial, ruthless energy is at an all-time high right now. He knows about Carly and Valentine, he is dealing with Sidwell's violent traps, and he needs allies. Ava and Sonny have such a toxic, magnetic history, and every time they share the screen, the dialogue absolutely crackles with unspoken threats and mutual respect. Across the globe, the psychological depth of Anna Devane's current arc is simply mesmerizing. Anna ends up chatting with her medical doctor at the WSB facility in France, and the vulnerability she is showing is breathtaking. We are so used to seeing Anna as the impenetrable super spy, but the psychological rigor she endured has changed her. I genuinely think we're missing the point if we want her to just bounce back immediately. I feel so incredibly relieved by that scene where she discusses her progress, because it honors her trauma. However, Anna later takes a huge risk. The way I see it, Anna's fundamental nature is to protect, and sitting on the sidelines while Cullum wreaks havoc is destroying her. Her decision to take a gamble, perhaps manipulating her release or diving back into the field before she is fully cleared, is classic Anna. Finally, with Valentine Cassadine on his way to Geneva to meet with Z, the global head of the WSB, the pieces are falling into place for a massive climax. Valentine is risking his own freedom, knowing Z might throw him right back into Steinmauer, just to expose Cullum and save Carly and Jocelyn. I feel like this is the best they've written Valentine because it strips away his selfish Cassadine survival instincts and replaces them with pure, sacrificial love. What does that mean for Anna's fate? If Valentine blows the whistle on Cullum, it could clear the path for Anna's full reinstatement, or it could put them both in the crosshairs of a corrupted agency. Every single plot point right now is woven together with such intricate, emotional precision. I am completely in love with where the show is heading, and I cannot wait to see how these characters navigate the beautiful, dangerous mess they are in.